Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, July 25th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com. We got Google post-core update volatility. It's super heated. A new AI study from Pew Research, Google called skewed and flawed. Google's ad revenue continues to climb. ChatGPT may be copying Google's search results, and much more on the SEO and PPC world. And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Duda. Duda is the professional website builder you can call your own. Thank you, Duda, so much for sponsoring. Deeply appreciate it. Check them out at duda.co. Okay, so first up, Google's search ranking volatility has been heated, very heated, since the June 2025 core update completed. The June 2025 core update completed on July 17th, I believe. And since then, it's been really, really volatile. Not just most of the tools are showing significant volatility, SEMrush, SimilarWeb, pretty much all of them. And then the chatter has been off the charts. I reported that last Sunday, and then throughout the whole entire week, especially yesterday, it spiked a lot yesterday on Thursday. The volatility has continued to grow and to continue to be very, very unsettling for a lot of people. People saying their rankings are reverting back, going forward. It's pretty wild, and I'm not sure what's going on. Google did not announce another core update. Google did not announce any update since that June 2025 core update, which finished on July 17th. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but even through today, July 25th, Friday, the Google search ranking volatility is super, super volatile. Pew Research came out with a study on AI overviews. It's basically saying that it drives about half, a little less than half the amount of clicks than with search results without AI overview. So 8% of the people, I think they polled about 1,000 people, 8% of those people clicked when there's an AI overview to a website. Without the AI overview on the page, 15% clicked. A lot of other data in here, all very, very significant. You should definitely read about it. But then Google sent me a statement later saying, and I quote, "People are gravitating to AI powers experiences, and AI features in search enable people to ask even more questions, creating new opportunities for people to connect within the web, within the websites." This study uses a flawed methodology, Google said, and skewed query set that is not representative of search traffic. We consistently direct billions of clicks to websites daily and have not observed significant drops in aggregate web traffic as being suggested here. Basically, Google's calling this study flawed and skewed. There have been numerous studies around this, all pointing to Google's AI overviews resulting in less clicks to websites, numerous ones, and Google keeps calling all these studies skewed and flawed. All Google needs to do is release that data, either say, here's our study, or show that data in Google Search Console so publishers could see it themselves. That's all they need to do, instead of just calling every single study skewed and flawed. But they continue to do this, and they do not share their own data on this, and they do not share the data in Search Console. So what do you expect, Google? It seems OpenAI, ChatGPT, their ChatGPT service, seems to be stealing Google search results. We had reports from two different people. I'll embed both, Aleda Solis, and you can basically see based on their test, they're creating new content. Google's indexing it through the Search Console interface. Once it's indexed, it's still not in Bing yet, which supposedly ChatGPT uses as a source. But it does show up in Google right away after it's indexed by Google. And then only after that is it indexed and shown by ChatGPT right away. Also, it's actually copying the actual search results from Google, the actual copy of the search results from Google, which is pretty wild. Now, I asked Sam Altman about this earlier this week. I think it was like Tuesday. Didn't hear back based on the first report. Then Aleda actually showed an example also. I was going to test it myself to see what's going on. It does seem something's up. We actually saw this with Bing when Microsoft Bing was actually copying Google back in 2011. It was like a Google sting to see that. It seems like it's happening again now with OpenAI copying Google. Not sure exactly what's going on. I don't have 100% evidence. It seems like it's really, really likely based on the proof that Aleda and the other person actually left, but I'm not sure what's going on, so keep that in mind. Then Google says it makes sense to no index your LLMs.txt file. John Mueller said this, basically saying that you don't want that file to be indexed and shown in the Google search results. So if you no index them, that's fine. Still, those websites that do use them can actually access them even though you no index them, but they hopefully won't be shown in the Google search results. And then talking about those LLMs.txt files, OpenAI seems to be crawling them. According to Ray Martinez, he's shown a log file showing that they're being crawled by OpenAI every 15 minutes or so. Meanwhile, Gary Ish from Google said at the Google Search Central Live Deep Dive event in, I think somewhere in Asia, basically saying that Google does not support this LLMs.txt file and they probably will never support it, he said. So keep that in mind. Nice find there, Kanishi. Gary also said at this deep dive event and Search Central event that you do not need to do anything special. You don't have to do AEO or GEO or EIO or whatever you want to call it to get into the AI overviews. You just need to do normal SEO to get into the Google AI overviews. Nothing special there, so keep that in mind. And then John Mueller said in a video that Google doesn't support or have a mechanism to support price changes by state. So if you have one price in California for the same exact product and you have a different price in New York for the same exact product, you have no real way of actually telling that to Google. He did say maybe you could play around with tax changes, or you could play around with having a product page per product per state, which seems really excessive. But other than that, there's no mechanism for Google to actually support state-by-state pricing for products. John Mueller and Martin Splitt from Google had a nice 40-minute discussion or so around the topic of CSS files and SEO. I definitely recommend you listen to that if you're in technical SEO or if you're doing anything. It's a really good understanding of what's going on there, so definitely take a listen to that. Really good information there. And then John Mueller also spoke about show web pages, like if you have a show that may be discontinued or maybe there's a season 2 or season 3. And he basically described how you should go ahead and handle those pages. He basically went on and said, if the page lives on, maybe keep it, and the show keeps going, keep the page. Maybe you want to 404 them if they discontinued. It really depends. He kind of equated them to similar advice around product pages that expire, as well as event pages, like you have a show, like a show like a XMX show or something that may expire. It all depends. He has some good advice there as well around that. Google announced yesterday that they have the new Google Trends API. So Google Trends never had an API until now, and now there is an API. The API is in alpha, so they're only letting a small number of people to actually play with this API right away. You can actually apply for access, and it basically gives you data specifically around the past 5 years rolling forward up until two days ago. So I guess the last 24 hours or so is not there, but it has 5 years of data broken down by daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Also, you could break it down by geo, so you can actually do all that type of stuff. So it's pretty useful for Google to have that API for Google Trends. Google Search Console launched a new logo this week. People got really excited, hoping for more information, maybe AI overviews, but no, we just have a new logo from Google Search Console. Google's announced a new feature, a new Search Lab feature called Web Guide. It uses Gemini and AI to organize the web results. It's only under the Web tab. It's not under the All tab. It may be promoted to the All tab at some point, but it's using the query fan out techniques and all this type of AI stuff to actually go ahead and organize those web results in a way that kind of groups them together to give you a better picture of websites out there for that topic. Again, this is only in Search Labs, so you can opt into it over there. I think it's pretty cool, actually. Google is testing replacing the More tab in that search bar with more filters, with Show More, and more options. This is spotted by Shahim as well as Gagan Gorta. Nice find there. Google's also testing a See More link in the actual Google search result snippets, as well as hyperlinking some of the snippets itself with that page down type of drop down feature where they highlight the text. This is spotted by SEO Steph, Kashul, Brody Clark at SERPs Alerts, Shashim Patel, and some others. So it seems like Google's testing this. It reminds me of some other previous tests that Google had before. Google is launching its virtual try-on feature for trying on clothes. It's launching in the US, I believe. Google announced it yesterday, which is pretty cool. And Google announced this numerous times, I think over the past few years now. And now it seems to be fully live in the US. And also customized price alerts. So you could actually say, Google alert me when the price goes down, but now you can say only alert me when the price goes down to this level, which is a much more useful feature. Bing is testing borders around its search results snippets. So it actually has a border around it. This is spotted by Sashim Patel. Nice find there. It seems Google's dropping the sponsor labels for that query expansion feature called Find Related Products and Services. And now it has this disclaimer that says, instead of the sponsor label, it has a disclaimer at the bottom in smaller font. These searches were selected to connect you with relevant products and services from advertisers. Sponsor label's gone. This is spotted by Brody Clark at SERPs Alert. Ginny Marvin, the Google Ads liaison, basically came back to me basically saying when you click on those, they are not ads. They only generate more commercial intent queries, and they're testing different types of labels that are useful. So keep that in mind. Again, I don't necessarily blame Google for not labeling them sponsored in this case, because clicking on them, they actually don't generate anything. Google Ads is testing, showing the optimization score, in the optimization score column, tips, like recommendations. There's this little icon there. This is spotted by Govin Sinpanwar, where there's a little icon there that shows you a recommendation or a tip in the optimization score. This is also spotted by Hannah. It's a nice find there at PPC Newsfeed. Google Ads has this new competitive aware recommendation where it's showing you your competitors doing this. It's resulting in this type of effect for you. You may want to go ahead and adjust your bidding. Of course, now that gets people to bid more and so forth. This is spotted by Emirhan. And also Adrian Decker, so nice find there. Here's a screenshot of that as well. Google Ads seems to be pushing out negative keyword lists for Performance Max campaigns. This is spotted by Adrian Decker via Jeremy Young and Elisa Nab. Here's a screenshot of that. Yeah, the help document, according to Adrian, says it's not available, but Google did announce that it's going to be coming out at some point, so hopefully it's coming out soon. Also, Google Ads has these new brand inclusions and exclusions, but only now available in AI Max. This is spotted by Jerome Fleck. And also a new cover this at Search Engine Land. It does seem interesting that Google's moving all those features to AI Max, so keep that in mind. Also, Google Ads is for RSAs, for responsive search ads, adding detailed click and conversion data directly in there, as opposed to saying just good and bad and whatever performance. It's actually showing you the click and conversion data by RSA headline, which is very, very useful. And then Jordi Ribas, from Microsoft, the corporate vice president of Microsoft, posted on LinkedIn and social and X and so forth, a comparison in his view of Microsoft Copilot to Google AI mode. And he goes off basically saying why he finds Microsoft Copilot much more useful. Both are great, he said, but he did post this comparison, which is pretty funny to see. And then Google posted their ad earnings, their revenue earnings, it's just 2 days ago, and they continue to impress. They continue to have significant ad revenue. The ad revenue specifically, their ads were up about 10.4%. Their overall revenue was up 14%. You can see this chart shows that this is the second highest ad revenue quarter ever, almost hitting the same as Q4, which is insane. To have a Q4 revenue in Q1, absolutely insane. And everything is up. Their stock price was up also after hours, but it was a big quarter for Google, and it seems Google's doing really well, whereas other people are not. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is search news we covered over the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Everyone have a great, safe weekend, and thanks again to Duda for sponsoring. Deeply appreciated. Bye-bye.